Hello, everyone. My name is Felicia. Um, I am basically going to be running my mouth, helping people helping people get jobs, people that are looking for work at home jobs, legitimate work at home jobs, because there are a lot of jobs out there that aren't legitimate. Um, though that has dropped a lot over the last 5 years. I've been working from home for about 10 years. I've been doing customer service for over 20 years. Um, and there's a lot of ups and downs and in and outs about it. And I know that a lot of people really get confused and frustrated when they're dealing with this. Of course, confusion and frustration does stem from the fact that you're trying to get a job um, so you can take care of your family. So I totally understand that. So I'm basically going to be running different series. A series is just like one episode, which is just like one stint of me just running my mouth. Um, I'm going to do about 20 of these. And once I get to the end of that, I'll see where I'll go from there. I've done anything from working, just starting off as a basic customer service rep in Brunswick, Georgia at GSI. That company no longer exists. That's what we call a brick and mortar location. But what we're looking for is a virtual location. We're looking for companies that are trustworthy, companies that provide good benefits, companies that are family centered, that type of stuff. Um, right now, my current title is operations supervisor of operations. I'm a supervisor. Um, there's I'm going to also discuss different levels of the structures within the company. We are going to get a lovely rundown of, well, this is our introductory session where I just tell you guys what I'm doing. The next one is going to be the interview process, and within that, it's going to be like your qualifying skills. If you don't have experience, technical requirements, the difference between remote and hybrid, and brick and mortar, as we just discussed. We're going to talk about benefits as well. Believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this, but work at home jobs, they have benefits, the same as a physical location, sometimes even better. You get PTO. I know for me, like just first starting off, I'm given like 3 weeks a year to vacation and get paid for it. And customer service reps, they get the same quality assurance reps, SMEs, etc., etc. Um, so that it's always good to get good things. Um, and of course, you get the health insurance and all that stuff. And the pay, we're going to discuss pay. Um, that pay is gonna vary based on a lot of different factors. Though I'm pretty sure that you're familiar with that. Um, and also, I'm even going to give a little talk on familiarizing yourself with Zoom, Teams, Slack, etc. Because you're really going to be using these platforms to do your training, to do your interviewing. So you definitely want to know how to jump on Zoom and blur your background. Um, so I can't blur my background, I think, on YouTube, but I need to. Um, and then the third sessions, we're going to be talking about the actual interview where we're talking about attire, um, your surroundings, what's behind you, reading the interviewers, things to avoid saying, and things to always mention. And of course, leaving a lasting impression on whoever it is that's interviewing you. I do want to stress that surrounding thing. This work from home is not a daycare. A lot of people have that misconception. It's not a daycare. Whenever I'm doing hiring, if you have a kid in the background, I'm just going to automatically not hire you, because before we do our interviews, we strictly stress that. And some people they'll still come. They'll have their boyfriend in the background, their girlfriend, their dog. So remember that when you're doing these type of stuff, you're dealing with a lot of important information. So I wish my husband would stop coming in and out the house. Okay. Um, okay. And then the fourth session is going to be okay, I have the job, now what? So we'll review supply equipment, whether it's supplied or you have to supply it. The majority of the work at home supply you with your equipment. Um, Using your own equipment these days, that's some ancient thing. That's an ancient thing. So if you do run across a company that doesn't supply your equipment, and I hate to say this, but like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. If they don't supply your equipment, odds are they're going to be a crap company. That's just the truth. Because the majority of the companies now provide you with the equipment, dual monitor. Some even pay partial of your internet. Not all that, not all, but some do pay that. But um, so don't become alarmed if they're like, well, you have to have your own equipment. That doesn't mean that they're illegitimate. That just means that they're not giving you equipment. Then we're going to discuss the I-9. We'll go over what an I-9 is, what you need for your I-9, why you need your I-9, and the time frame to get your I-9 done. What that is that's your identification, and this has to be sent to the government. And it has to be done um, within a specific time frame. It's not a lot of time. And of course, your ID, which ID we're going to talk about, what's acceptable ID. Um, oh yeah, and having all your paperwork filled out and address any technical requirements. So if they tell you that your internet speed is only 5 megabytes per second and we need to get you to 50, then you're going to have to find a provider that will be able to get you to the required amount. Also, we're going to discuss background noise. It's going to depend on who you are, who's in the Zoom room or team room, etc. When it comes to the background noise. So, say for instance, if you're in training and you're in your first or second day of training, and the operations manager is coming through, to introduce him or herself, and you have your 10-year-old just runs up and starts screaming about Fortnite, odds are you're probably going to get pulled to the side, depending on who's going to be handling it. And they're gonna, tell you, hey, either this can't happen again, or sorry, you have to clock out, log out. That's that. Um, so the background noise, you can tell I'm not a fan of background noise. I had an agent once that she was taking calls, and her kid did something in the background. This is the third chance I'd given her, and her kid did something in the background. Then I could hear the kid run up and say, "Hey, mommy!" And then she panicked and she pressed mute. She didn't come back to the phone for 3 minutes. The lady and the man on the line they were really not having a good time. They were cursing, yelling, screaming because they couldn't get her attention. Their son had just died, and they needed to straighten some stuff out with his insurance, and this is how she handled the call. So that's why I'm not a fan of background noises. And of course, people in your office. And we're going to also discuss what an office really is. Believe it or not, this is my office. It's messy right now. Um, but this is my dedicated, what we call a dedicated area for you to take your phone calls. Um, Again, for security reasons, HIPAA reasons. Um, if anybody's familiar with those HIPAA fines, you know what I'm talking about. Um, oh yeah, then we're gonna the fifth is structure of the work from home and training. So I'm going to discuss to you and explain to you what an operations manager is. You know what HR is, but I'm going to explain to you what you can do to contact HR if you need anything specifically done. If you need FMLA or ADA or all of that good stuff. So I'm going to tell you the basic steps on how to go about that. I'm also explaining what the supervisor team lead does. A supervisor and a team lead are the same thing. They just I don't know why some people call it a supervisor and some people call it a team lead. Eh. Um, so to me, a team lead is someone that works with their team and doesn't feel like, oh, they're here, the team's there. Everybody's just working together to achieve one goal. And a supervisor just seemed like this type of person. I just, took some type of pedestal and just, I'm a supervisor, but I don't act like that at all. Okay. Also, we're going to discuss quality assurance and how it'll affect your job. Um, then we'll discuss things that are unacceptable at at a work from home, and I want to try to hit as much of that as possible because we really lose a lot of people in the beginning because of this. Now, some just don't care. Some just don't care. Um, you don't have to be a genius to know that you can't have a dog barking while you're trying to take a death call or something. Um, and then also, we're gonna discuss what is training like, and do you get paid for training? You get paid when you work at the work at homes that I'm going to introduce you guys to. You you get paid for everything. You get paid for um, training. You get paid for your breaks. You don't get paid for lunch. If you find somebody that pay you for lunch, call me. Um, but you get paid for everything, because a lot of people like, do I get paid for that? Do I get paid for that? This is a true legit job. Um, and something I always like to make, like, share with people when they're like, oh, I saw a meme. It had a guy laying on a bed and it had a laptop on the desk beside him. And then he, imaginary type something and close it. And they're like, when you work from home, be like, no, it's not. Actually, work from home has some of the most strict adherence that you would ever encounter. Adherence is when we know exactly where you are at every second that you're clocked in. If you're supposed to go to lunch, we have things where I can see if you're in your phone, if you're not in your phone, if you're over your break, if you're over your lunch. So we see everything. And work from home is not like, oh, I take a call, I walk off, go get a Coca-Cola and come back. That's not how it goes. Sometimes I sit in here for 12 hours straight, but of course this is like a supervisor position. Um, and I have to get my son and my husband to bring me water. So um, it's not a laid back situation. It's very fast paced on average. Now you will find some clients. Um, what a client is when you get hired by a call center. They actually take calls for a different company. They're the client. So um, when you have different clients, you have different projects. You might have um, one project where you take 12 calls a day, and you might have one where you take 50. So it's just going to depend on the client and the project. There is no way of us of you knowing, unfortunately. And now in some situations they'll tell you, okay, so this is a client, but that really doesn't do anything for you, because it doesn't do anything for you if you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Um, so with the customer service job, if that's something that you want to do, you can always try it. Um, it might not be for you. It may be your thing. It's actually my thing. Um, I have no idea. I graduate next year with my bachelor's, so I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I'm probably going to still work in this. Just going to do HR maybe. But yeah, so this is actually my first session, and I hope everyone enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking to you guys because it's like I got to talk to myself. And if you guys have any questions, please just reach out. I'll be more than happy to help.